Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a full face of nothing new, which is a series that I've been doing for a long time here on my channel, where I create a look using all the products that I already own. This has nothing to do with anything that is recent to the market. Nothing new has launched. This is just things that I have around my beauty room. And in today's episode of Full Face of Nothing New, I have been wanting to create this makeup look that I discovered on Instagram and on Pinterest. And it's actually a makeup look that Katie Jane Hughes created last year sometime. Here's what it looks like, you guys. This is such a beautiful, fun, colorful spring look. I will actually have like the photo pop up right here so you guys can get a really good look at what I'm going into here. I really feel like sometimes when it comes to my creativity and also these Full Face of Nothing New videos, I feel like it's always fun for me to just not only prove to myself, but also show you guys my thought process behind recreating a look like this using things that I already have. Katie Jane Hughes actually didn't tag any of the products that she used to create that look, and so I just grabbed things that I felt like looked similar. I'm going to be dipping into a couple of eyeshadow palettes to try to achieve the look, but again, the point is just to use what you have, get inspired, and take the essence of what you see online or whatever, or what you're inspired by, and then try to match it up as closely as possible with the stuff you have. If it's not exact, no worries. It's just fun to do. I don't know. So that's kind of the vibe of today's video. So we're gonna get right into it. So I love how fresh the skin looks and how colorful yet soft the eyes are. I feel like there's so many different colors. It's almost like a rainbow eye, but it's so extremely wearable. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually start off with the eyes. I'm gonna do things a little bit differently because I just am trying to go off of this photo again. So I'm gonna use my NARS tinted eyeshadow primer. This is in the shade Light, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of this on the top lid, and I'm also gonna take a little bit and just dab it on the lower lash line as well. I got it a little bit lower. It's a little messy. Oh well. And then I'm just going to blend that out really quickly with a fluffy brush. This is just going to kind of act as like a concealer, but also prep the eyes for eyeshadow. I'm just going to blend that out all around the entire eye. I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I think I'm going to like do the entire eye look first and then wipe away any fallout, and then go in with a little bit of complexion product. She honestly, I don't even think she's wearing foundation in that photo. I don't feel like I personally can get away with that, but I'm going to try to mimic the same effect just in the way that I would do it personally with my skin type. I grabbed so many different palettes, all of which have kind of pinks and blues and purples in them, which I actually have a lot of palettes with those colors in it. I'm going to be starting off with the Huda Beauty Nude Light palette, and the reason why I'm starting here is because I really wanted to take this light pink shade. So again, you guys, if you're following along with this, just get any light pink eyeshadow that you have. And I'm going to start by applying the light pink right here. It looks like she's got a little bit of pink right here, and it moves in the crease a little bit, kind of like this. So I'm just going to start by layering that up here. It doesn't look like she has much of a transition shade, so I really am going to be doing my eyeshadow differently than I normally do, but that's the fun part about this. Okay, so I'm going to kind of hop into another palette. I'm going to be palette hopping quite a bit in this video, so I'm sorry if it gets a little confusing. I'm going to try to keep it down to as few palettes as possible, but this is the Nabla Soul Blooming palette. And after I applied that first pink shade, I felt like I could use a little bit something more peachy. So I'm going to take this shade in the palette called Bolero, and I'm just going to kind of layer that on top to kind of intensify things. And I feel like that creates more of a close match to what is actually going on in the picture. Okay, I really like that. Okay, next I'm going to go into this shade in the Nabla palette. This is called Garden Gate. It's a little bit of a lavender duochrome color, and it looks to me like she has a little bit of a lavender duochrome situation in this inner portion. I need a mirror. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to take that color and kind of pop it into the inner crease here. It just looks like there's something going on right about here, some sort of lavendery shimmer color, and it actually looks like it comes kind of in the scoopity boopity area right here, the inner crease. So I'm just going to kind of pop that here, blend it in with the pink, and then bring it up into that area. Okay, next I'm going to take this shade right here. This is called Philosophy, and it's a little bit more of like a glittery shade, and I'm noticing that there's a little bit of a bright shimmer right here over top of the pink. So I'm just taking my finger and I'm pressing that shadow right here on the eyelid to just add that bit of shimmer and dimension right here. And same thing on this eye. This is honestly one of the most beautiful eye looks I've ever seen, so if I can just get it remotely to look like what Katie Jane Hughes created, I will be happy. She's one of my favorite makeup artists to follow because I feel like she just thinks outside the box and creates things that are so different but also very approachable and wearable, which I really, really love. All right, let's go ahead and start to incorporate a little bit of an orange tone. I found an orange shade in this NARS Afterglow eyeshadow palette. It's this one right here, and I feel like it's going to look very, very similar to what she has in the photo. I actually don't know if she used just one palette for this or multiple eyeshadow palettes, but that's what's kind of fun about it. I'm able to kind of just take what I have in my existing collection and create something pretty similar. All right, so I'm just gonna start to build up this orangey tone on the outer portion of the eye. And it looks like it blends into the pink a little bit here, and then it has like a rounded edge on this outer portion. So I'm just gonna kind of create a little more of a rounded edge on that outer side. I'm also going to take a little bit of that orange shadow and apply it underneath the lower lash line a bit. Okay, I'm going to do the same exact thing on the other eye. I would have never thought to combine like these cool lavender pink tones with this warmer kind of orange color on the outside, but somehow these colors pair really well together. I'm excited for the final result. I mixed in a tiny bit of this shade along with the orange, like just the tiniest little bit, and I'm applying that a little closer to the lash line itself. I feel like there's just a little bit more of like a brownish undertone to whatever color she used. So instead of like trying to find that exact shade, I just mixed the two to kind of create a similar tone. All right, we're going back into the Huda Beauty Nude Light palette, and I'm actually going to take this mauve shade and I'm going to apply that right about here on the lower lash line. Okay, I'm palette hopping again. I really wanted to take this shade in my Profusion Wanderlust eyeshadow palette. She has some sort of a vibrant bluish purple color. This shade is called Retro. I'm just gonna dip a smaller pencil brush into this shade, and she has just the slightest amount of blue right about here on the lower lash line. I've never seen anybody do that before, and I think it's such a pretty addition to an eye look, just to do like a little bit of like a cobalt blue situation just in one area on the lower lash line. I think it's so flattering. So I'm just continuing to build that shade up until I feel like it's as intense as the photo. So I'm dipping back in a few times, just layering that up really lightly. And then I'm going to try to match it on the other eye. I think that looks so pretty. Okay, I'm going to go back into the Nabla palette, and I'm going to take this light golden glitter shade. I feel like the eye look has much more of like a glittery finish to it, and so I'm going to take this and try to add a little bit more of that chunky glitter finish to the eyelid. All right, so next I'm going to use this shade right here. This is from the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette, and this is the shade No Joke. I'm just going to take the tiniest amount of this. I actually haven't used this shade yet, so I'm excited. And I feel like that's one of the most fun parts about this look is the bright inner corner. Wow, that's a very vibrant yellow. I'm going to go ahead and just lightly blend this out, kind of blending it up into that lavender in the inner portion. And then also she has it right here a little bit as well. Okay, I'm going to step back and assess the eye situation really quickly and just kind of add a little more color to where I feel like needs color. So I'm taking a bit of that Garden Gate shade from the Nabla palette, which is the lavender that we had in this inner portion here, and I'm just building that up a little bit more. I'm also going to take a mix of Bolero from that palette and the pink shade in the Huda Nude palette, and I'm just going to pop a bit more of that into this area here. I'm also going to take just a tiny bit of that pink and just buff it here. I don't know if she did that or not, but I'm just personally wanting to. Okay, I'm not trying to use like 1,000 palettes, but it just might have to be this way for the look that I'm trying to achieve. I'm wanting to go into this ColourPop Sweet Talk palette, and I'm wanting to use this Super Shock shadow right here called Side to Side. It's a beautiful kind of glittery pink. Any sort of glittery shadow would work for this situation, but I just honestly feel like there needs to be a little more of an intense shimmer right here than what those other eyeshadows were giving me. Yes, I think that looks so much better. All right, I'm just gonna make sure that that orangey shade is nice and bold on this corner here. It's kind of nice to like lay down the color first and then intensify just the colors that need them after you see it all together. Okay, I think that looks really cool. I'm gonna go ahead and actually apply mascara right now. So I'm gonna take my L'Oreal Lash Paradise mascara, and she has pretty voluminous lashes, so I'm not gonna be shy with the mascara. And I'm just going to go ahead and apply that on the top lashes, and then of course the lower lashes. And it looks like she has a little bit more of like a piecey lower lash, so I'm gonna like purposefully clump them a little more than I normally would. Okay, I love the eye look. Okay, I got some mascara on the eyelid, but I will just worry about cleaning that up later. I'm gonna go ahead and take a makeup wipe, and I'm going to clean up any fallout, but I'm going to be very careful around the actual edge of the eyeshadow, not to ruin that. Okay, for complexion, the skin is very, very natural. Again, I don't even think there's anything on the skin, so I'm just going to take something really glowy. I'm going to use the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. I also felt like the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Glow product would do a really good job at this. L'Oreal makes a really good option of like a glowy primer, so anything like that would work. I really love the tone of this Becca one, so I'm just going to go ahead and take that on a brush, and I'm going to be focusing it on the high points of the face, although I am going to apply it all over the skin. But I really want the cheekbones to look fresh above the eyebrows, the center of the face. But then, like I said before, I'm going to take the extras and put it all over. I just really wanted the focal points to be the high points of the face. Okay, like I said before, I don't think she has any sort of foundation on. I personally need a little more coverage, so I'm going to use the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer. I'm just going to start with one pump of this. I'm going to take the same foundation brush, and I'm just wanting to kind of like even out the skin tone without making it look or feel heavy. So a tinted moisturizer is what I felt like would be the best option for this type of a makeup look, because obviously you are wearing eye makeup, so I do feel like you want to even out the skin tone somewhat, but I do love the contrast of like a colorful eye look with a no makeup kind of a skin finish. So I'm just going to take a bit more of that tinted moisturizer and pop it on the forehead, just kind of layer up over the areas that I need more coverage. And then I'm going to take what's left on the back of my hand with a sponge and just press that into the skin to make it look even more natural. Okay, I really like the finish and the overall even skin tone that gave. I'm going to go ahead and do some concealer. I'm going to be really careful with concealer around the eyes. So I'm going to take the Hourglass Vanish Concealer in the shade Silk, and I'm going to dot this a lot lower than where I normally do so that I can buff it up toward the lash line, but it's not going to like ruin the eyeshadow. I'm also going to take this and I'm going to spot conceal with the same shade. I'm using the same shade because, again, I'm trying to achieve that no makeup look. I'm not trying to really do much highlighting and contouring necessarily. So we're gonna start out like that. I can't find the brush that I was looking for, so I'm just gonna use the brush that I had used for the eyeshadow primer, which I feel like will be fine since it's like the same color. And I'm just gonna start by buffing out the concealer with this brush. I just feel like I need a little more control underneath the eye area. So I'm gonna buff out the concealer below the eye first so that the majority of the product is underneath the eye. And then I'm just gonna bring it up slightly underneath the eye, but I'm not even trying to really touch it to the color. I'm just going right underneath, if that makes sense. This brush is incredible for buffing out concealer like this. This is a Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush. It made the concealer look incredible. I'm gonna take a little bit of what's left. I'm just gonna try to brighten up the center of the forehead a bit. Maybe conceal around the nose a tiny bit. I love how the skin looks. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna go in with my sponge now. This is gonna help pick up any excess product and also just kind of re-emphasize or add in a little bit more of that skin-like finish, which is really important for this look. I'm not trying to make it look like I have tons of makeup on the skin, and I want more of that glossy finish, so the sponge is gonna really help to press everything back into the skin. Okay, I'm super happy with the coverage and the finish of those products. I'm gonna kind of add a bit more right here. Honestly, you guys, I don't even know if she has a bronzer on. I am going to add some because, you know, I'm taking inspiration from this look and I know what I like when it comes to a makeup look. I know what makes me feel pretty. Sorry, I'm just kind of cleaning up this inner portion. I felt like it looked a little sallow. That seems to be a little better. All right, I'm gonna take the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Contour Wand and I'm actually going to apply it on the back of my hand rather than applying it directly to the skin, just to avoid overloading the face with product. So I have this right here on the skin. Now this shears out really beautifully. So I'm gonna kind of take it, shear it out a bit on the other half of my hand before actually going in with the product on the skin. And I'm just going to kind of feather that into the hairline a little bit. And I'm also gonna feather it into the cheekbones right here, just really lightly, so that I get some of that dimension, but it doesn't look like I'm wearing an actual contour product necessarily. I'm gonna take it and define the jawline right here. And I'm going to take just the teensiest bit on the sides of the nose, and under the lip. All right, I'm going to go back in with my sponge and just kind of take what's left of the product on there and just blend over everything. The leftover foundation and concealer is going to help blend that contour even further, which will make it look like you're not wearing contour even though you have a nice shape to the face. All right, next up I'm going to do some blush. I'm going to take the Glossier Cloud Paint in the shade Dusk. I'm just going to put a little bit of that on my hand. And I'm actually going to use the brush that I was using for foundation. And I'm just going to kind of press this blush right here on almost the sides of the apples of the cheeks. It seems like that's where a little bit of color is, even though I don't even know if she's wearing blush. I feel like she's wearing a little bit. And it's just right here, it seems. So I'm just going to kind of stipple that into the skin, moving it back toward the ears. Yeah, I feel like that color is actually pretty spot on to what she's wearing in the photo. Going back in with the sponge, I'm just going to make sure that that's pressed into the skin. I'm going to wipe off my hand because I have the contour product on there and I'm wearing a white shirt and I can't tell you how many times I have done my makeup and put things on my hands and then accidentally got it on my clothes. I'm just going to do that before I forget. All right, for brows, you guys, I'm actually going to, well, hold on. First, I think I'm going to take a little bit of my By Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Powder. This is the best powder for when you don't want to look like you're wearing powder. It really is so incredible. I'm just going to take the tiniest amount of that on a small Eco Tools brush, and I'm just going to press that, well, kind of buff it actually, into the areas that I really don't want to look oily throughout the day. So that's right here for me. The brows for me get a little oily. I'm just going to dust it just a tiny bit in the T-zone here, tip of the nose, on the chin, and over the smile lines. It actually looks like things are left pretty glossy though, so I'm just going to take a teensy bit of powder and run it underneath the concealer under the eyes just to prevent too much creasing, but if I'm trying to copy this look identically, I don't even know if she has too much powder on at all, if any. But again, I'm just trying to adapt it to make it to be something that I feel comfortable wearing for the rest of the day so it doesn't slide off my face. Now we're going to go into brows. Honestly, she's not wearing anything in her brows, I don't think. I feel like I need a little something. So I'm going to take a spoolie and brush this up. And instead of using a pencil, I'm going to use a powder. This is from Sigma. It's their Color and Shade Brow Powder Duo. Oh, my word, it's not focusing. There we go. It's their Brow Powder Duo. This is actually in the shade Light. I'm going to use the shade Light because, again, I'm trying to achieve that no brow makeup look. So I'm going to start off with the lightest shade in this palette. And I'm just wanting to kind of trace out the general shape of my brow with this powder. I'm going to dip into the darker shade for the ends of the brow, and I'm going to keep the lighter powder for toward the center of the brow. So yeah, I just want it to be defined, but not really. I'm going to flip this brush over and just kind of brush through. You can kind of see what I mean by that. It looks like there's nothing in my brows, even though I did add a little bit more shape with powder. But because I used a much lighter powder, it kind of helps that effect even more. I'm just going to do the same thing on the other brow. If you don't have a brow powder, you could always find just an eyeshadow that has a little bit more of a cool undertone to it. Try to find something that matches your hair color or the undertone of your hair color, and you could always use that instead of an actual brow powder if that's something that's more convenient for you. Okay, I feel like that's pretty good considering the effect that I want. I'm gonna go ahead and take my Boy Brow from Glossier. This is in the shade Clear, and I'm going to run that through the brows just to kind of make them look more full than they already are. I want a little bit of texture. Before I forget, I'm going to take the brush that I was using with the orange eyeshadow and just buff away that mascara mark. Same thing on this eye, and then I even have a little bit of mascara where that cobalt blue shadow is, so I'm taking that same brush. I didn't add any more product to it, but just wanted to use that same brush to buff things away. Okay, for lip color, I'm gonna go in with my NYX Nude Suede Shoes lip liner. I'm gonna line and fill in the lips with this. This lip liner color is so similar to what she has on in the picture. It does look like there's a little bit of a sheen to it, so I'm going to take my Milani Champagne Lip Gloss. You guys know how much I love this gloss and how much I love this lip combo. I'm just going to take the smallest amount because it's not like a full-on glossy look. It does have a sheen though, so I'm just going to kind of pat a little bit of that over top of the lip liner, focusing on the center of the lips. Yeah, I would say that that color is pretty darn identical to what's in the photo. All right, last but not least, I do want to add a little bit of a highlighter. I can't really tell if there's a highlighter on her skin, but I wanted to use the Hourglass Champagne Flash Vanish highlighter. And I'm just going to take the other side of my sponge and get a little bit of this product on the side of my sponge like this, and then I just like to pinch it and just press that over top of the high points of the face. It's so pretty. I love this product, and it's been a while since I've used it, so I kind of wanted to have an excuse to put it in a video. Same thing on this side, just for that extra dewy skin. I'm going to take just the tiniest bit and apply it right here on the center of the nose. I'm going to put some above the eyebrows and the tiniest bit on the chin. I normally do not put highlighter on the chin, but in the photo, it does look like she's got a little something glowy in that area. All right, last but not least, I'm going to spray a little bit of the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Mist, basically on the outer portions of the face. I'm going to go back over everything really lightly with my sponge just to make sure everything looks super dewy. And then I'm going to take what's left on the powder brush that I used with the By Terry powder. Actually, I'm going to take a tiny bit of what's in the cap of this powder. I'm going to step back and just kind of repowder the areas that I really don't want to shine. And this time I'm going to be a little more focused on those areas because I do like the overall dewy glow. I just don't want to look greasy, you know? There's a fine line between glowy and greasy. I'm just taking what's left on the bronzer brush and I'm just kind of pouncing a bit more color right here to add a tiny bit of dimension. And then I'm going back in with the brush that I used for the blush. I'm just kind of popping on a bit more, just a smidge. Okay, I think we're done. All right, you guys, so that completes this makeup look. I absolutely love how it turned out. I feel like it's pretty similar to what we have going on here in this photo. I'm very proud of myself actually for finding all of those products. It kind of goes to show you, I don't know about you guys, but I am definitely somebody that if I saw that photo and I saw the exact products that were tagged in it, I would have felt like I would have needed those products to achieve this look. This is like identical, and I know I had to like palette hop quite a bit and use other things, but it just kind of proves that you don't need to go out and buy the latest and greatest to achieve a look that you're inspired by. So I had a lot of fun recreating that look. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Hopefully it inspires you guys to reach back into your makeup collection or recreate a look that you see on Pinterest or Instagram with the things that you have. It's so much fun and it kind of makes you think outside of the box instead of just copying something exactly. For me, it was really fun to like try to match those colors within the collection that I have, and I really feel like I was able to achieve exactly what I had in my mind. So like I love how this turned out. I think it's such a fun, colorful, but super wearable look. So I hope you guys like this as much as I do. If you're new here, hi, my name is Allie. I would love for you to join the family. You can do so by hitting the subscribe button. And if you're already a subscriber but you want to be notified on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, click on the bell after you subscribe and you'll get a notification every single time I post. I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing day wherever you are. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye.